Hey, Jason, good to have you, buddy.
Hey, thanks a lot, Todd. We're here in the hotel room. It's Saturday morning. Todd, we thought we'd talk to you a little bit, just kind of about your preparation for the game. What do you do? We know you've got all kinds of cheat sheets. You've got all kinds of stuff you do in preparation for a football game. Just thought we'd give some of our fans out there kind of a look at what you do. So I don't know where you want to start, but why don't you just kind of start us off with some stuff?
The first thing is, of course, the notes that you guys put together.
Yes.
Dave Meyer, in BG's case, the BG football notes. There's a spring prospectus that you look at, last year's final game notes and this year's first game notes. Just a way to remind you what happened last year. You know, people ask me, how do you remember all those names? Well, you know, most of the Falcons you can remember by the third or fourth game without looking, but of course the other team, you got to have a cheat sheet, as you put it. Troy with their notes as well. These are usually more informational for the opposition because you don't see them all the time like you do the Falcons, but you got to read the notes to get tidbits and stats. And from that, you create your depth charts, as I call them, or your grids, your sheets.
Let's zoom in on that a little bit.
Every play-by-play guy has these. This is the Falcons offense right here. And by the second or third game, I'll have these all typed in. I got it just saved as a program, you know, and I'll type them in. But for the first game till I feel like everything's settled, I don't want to do all that typing. So I just write them out. And then I'll write notes on them. Obviously, their height, weight, class, where they're from, last year's stats, if any. Last year's stats against this team we're playing today, if any, and for this game with Troy there are, and just other little notes that might come in handy. And then of course the other team, I had the same thing. And since this is the first game of the season, you don't really have any games to go on with this team. You know, all you can do is try to extrapolate from last year. And so I do read a lot of the preseason books, and I put them in a binder because it made it easier than carrying the book around.
Sure.
Scout.com had a good preview. I like the Blue Ribbon yearbook, and Phil Steele is good as well. So I've been printing those out as we go along. And, of course, our friends from the Blade, the Sentinel, BG News, and for Troy, their newspaper is in Montgomery. That's the great thing about the internet.
Yeah.
It helps you read out-of-town newspapers in particular. So I've been following their preseason with the Montgomery Advertiser, and apparently nobody knows who's going to play quarterback today for Troy, at least starting.
Yes.
Indications are the coach knows what he's going to do, of course, but I'm expecting we'll see both of them. Sure. And then there's always the little surprises, like I found out on the plane yesterday from you and from Dave Meyer that Matt Schill's name is not Shills, it's Schiltz.
Yes.
So
we just found that out as well. So.
Yeah, well, his mother says it's Schiltz, then we say it's Schiltz. And if you look on the computer, Dave did this. These are the players. You can't hear it all that good, of course, but this is every player on the team actually saying his name. You'd be amazed how many times we get to mid-season and I meet somebody's mother or father and they go, hey, did you know Joe's name's really Jew? No. You got to tell me these things, you know. It looks like Joe. Something like that. The names you think you know how to say, you don't know how to say. Absolutely. So, like Shills, it's Schiltz. Yeah. So, I'll still screw something up today, no question about that. But that's kind of the preparation that goes into it. And, of course, the human element. You talk with coaches and players and people around the teams and hope to glean some information that way.
Sure. You ever worry about information overload?
No. You cannot have to. And I'll tell you, that you learn those lessons. Two lessons in particular, incidences since I've been calling BG. One was the infamous game at Miami when we had the tornado delay. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then when we did play, there were 3 safeties in the same game. We were there till 2 in the morning, okay? So you got to fill. And the other one is when Maui Solar broke the backboard at Anderson Arena.
Yeah. We
were already on the air. So we couldn't delay going on the air, so we had to fill. So you can never have too much information.
Wow, that's great. Todd, thanks for kind of giving us a behind-the-scenes look at what you do in preparation for a football game.
No problem, and of course, roll along.